Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle, and we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners with the epilogue of A Storm of Swords coming at you. Gentlemen, how you doing?
It's over.
That's what I was thinking. Could finally say it's over, right? Like,
Another book down.
because I almost said it last week, but then I was like, oh, fuck, we still have another. We actually have another one after this. I know we kind of maybe mentioned it in the prior one, but we're going to do a wrap up, but we're done, right? Like,
It's bittersweet,
yeah.
especially because a lot of people consider this one the best one. So does that mean it's all downhill from here? Kind of a sad way to think about it.
Hope not.
I'll say the next two, no spoilers, are just an interesting read, for sure.
Mm-hmm. and we've said some of the reason why, like the character split and stuff like that. There's some other reasons, but yeah.
I know one thing. This book took a beating.
Yours
during
did?
this.
Your spine's beat up?
The spine is fucked. The back cover ripped off. It's held by tape. The back corner
Really?
of that same cover, torn off. It's needs a rest.
It's got character. It's going to get retired.
Yeah, it's gonna get passed down.
Yeah.
I remember having this conversation not too long ago about the last book.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
So I will say, circling back to this chapter, I think it's a great way to go out. I'm a little biased. I say they're all great, but I think this is a great chapter. I think some of the Frey stuff could be a little boring. I could see that. Obviously, me as a super fan, I even love that. But yeah. So Kyle, what do you think as a first time reader?
I mean, I thought it was a little cool to hear some of the phrase and the infighting and like some of the stuff I probably should have realized, like Old Walter isn't the one that's definitely, he's not the one guaranteed to be siring all these kids at this point, right? Like it sounds like there's some promiscuity in the family and stuff. And like,
I didn't even put that two and two together that Blackwater might be the father of
Some of the more
A
recent.
handful.
I mean, it might not even be him. It could be more than him.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's so many of them there, and it seems like it's kind of all crazy.
Yeah, they're just fucking each
just
other.
everybody diddling each other.
Yeah, pretty much. So I didn't even think about that side of things until here. So that was kind of an interesting look into their weird family for sure.
Yep.
What'd you think of the ending? Just broad strokes.
I mean, it kind of, I don't like when I don't know. I guess I don't know that I like when we get a character and then they die, right? Like, I don't know. It's kind of one of those you not excited, but you're like, oh, here's a new point of view. This is going to be interesting. We're going to hear what this dude has to say about everything and see how he fits into the story. And then he's just gone, right?
You're upset Merritt's dead.
Well, exactly.
Well, it's happened every time.
Yes, but it also makes well, is Chet dead? We don't know that Chet died, I don't think.
I thought he was one of the whites that Sam saw when he saw like Small Paul and all those guys.
Maybe.
I might be
I don't
wrong,
remember.
but I thought it was confirmed that he was dead. You're right that he didn't necessarily die in his prologue chapter, but I thought we did get confirmation on his death at one point.
Okay, and that's fair then. But at the same time, like Merritt, like he wouldn't have been important enough to follow around. So I get why these guys kind of are one and dones.
Yeah.
And really his sole purpose was obviously to serve as the reveal for the weird zombie Catelyn situation going on. Right?
Exactly.
So
I actually don't mind the one-offs. Like, all right, cool, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm done with you.
Doesn't have to get too invested in anything.
yeah.
It's a good skim chapter. Just like, none of this is important. We can jump right over
Oh,
this.
he's dead. Erased from memory.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump in then.
Yeah, so just a quick synopsis in case anyone didn't get it. It's the one where Merrick goes to Old Stones to ransom his great half nephew, Peter Pimple Frey, and it doesn't go to plan.
Who is in pretty close line of? He's not too far from being the whatever Lord of the Twins.
Yeah, he's up there, top 10, maybe top 5 actually.
Oh, I didn't realize he was that close.
Mhm.
That's cool. You're right. I mean, he even explains it, so that's on me for not realizing that. But I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get into some of that in a little bit, but yeah. So
I also had a Peter Pimple. I guess probably because his name's spelled that way. It kept making me think it was Littlefinger.
Littlefinger, yeah, because it's
Yeah.
Peter spelled weird.
It's actually Pater.
I'm not gonna try.
Peter. I'm just kidding. I'm just pulling a glow.
Well, I thought somebody else was named, or I thought somebody called Littlefinger Peter Pimple at some point, but
I don't think so.
I guess
not
not.
that I remember.
yeah.
Peter Pimple was the one that when they got to the twins before the Red Wedding, he got knocked off his horse when Grey Wind like jumped at him.
Yeah, we've met
Oh, yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Pimple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yep. So we're going to ransom him, and it starts with Merritt Frey riding up to this hill, Old Stones, which you've also been to before.
remember it's some. Is this where Rhaegar was playing? No.
No, this is not where Rhaegar was playing. This is where Kat and Rob, basically, they were going to the Red Wedding a couple chapters, maybe the chapter before Peter Pimple got knocked off his horse. And a lot of bridges were out. And Kat's like, oh, I know the Riverlands because I used to live here. Follow me. And they go a roundabout way going through here. And when they're through here, they're looking at the guy's statue that Thomas Evans is sitting on later on. And basically, Kat's like, hey, this is a king who died and no one remembers him now. Which, again, I think in hindsight's a little foreshadowy to like what happens with Rob, but also I think Rob uses it as a point, like, yeah, he failed because he didn't have an heir. And that's what sparked some of the Rob needs an heir conversations. So yeah, but that's where we were here before. It was kind of cool.
All right, so Merritt's walking up the hill. The pathway kind of wraps around the hill, so he's got to go. He's making a couple circles, and they got a quick snow last night. So a quick autumn snow, not too much laying. It's actually melting already. That's the worst kind of snow. You know, just quick sidebar. Like, oh shit, it's gonna snow.
Just to make everything a fucking mud pit.
Yeah. It teases you, like, not a snow day. Maybe you got an hour delay, but it's just nothing. Like,
when everything's
what
just fucking soggy in a mud pit.
I think this
like
is important,
that.
though, because it's the first we're really hearing of snow, right? Sansa heard of...
This is not the first, though, because, like, Sansa had it. Yeah, exactly. So we've been starting... It's kind of like the new comment, right? The new red comment, where it's like we're getting it throughout every chapter.
Yeah.
Because even John, I think, was seeing something. I know he's at the wall, but it still was kind of weird. I think it seemed colder or something there, but
yeah, I almost take it like when George mentions snow, it's almost like him getting to say winter is coming without having to have a Stark say it. But I think it's almost meant to make us think about Starks, because, like, especially in this chapter, it's like we're starting off this chapter with Merritt riding this hill, and it seems like he kind of gets shit on at the end of the day because of a Stark. Again, same thing with the Sansa chapter. It starts off snowing, and then she has all these building Winterfell kind of Starky themes throughout the chapter. So I think it can kind of be like hey, this is a winter is coming chapter. Get ready for it.
Can you have winter without a Stark telling you winter's coming?
I mean, no one said it in this chapter, but it is snowing. They don't mention the snow after this, but
I was just kidding.
I mean, you better hope, Jeff. Or well, I mean, maybe you don't want winter ever, but
yeah.
I mean, there's not very many Starks left right now.
Summer forever.
We're running out of people to tell us. So he also mentions, as he's talking about the snow, or at least looking at it, that it's a bad omen, right? He doesn't feel good about this autumn snow, and turns out he probably shouldn't, right? Winter's coming for his ass in the form of dead Catelyn Stark.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole chapter is really just him talking about how unlucky he is, right? How shit his life has been. And it sounds like he did get dealt a pretty bad hand. Like, he got a bad head injury.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Which can really just derail your career. I mean, no fault of his own.
Yeah, he mentions that pretty early here. Is that, like, he has these really bad headaches.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of starts touching on it, but that's really the gist of this chapter is like he's just woe is me. Pretty much, my luck sucks. I did want to ask before we get too deep. Had we seen this guy before? I didn't recognize his name.
I think he was mentioned in the Red Wedding. Kat sees that he was in the back drinking, right? Because that becomes his job, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's like drinking. He's so drunk with the rest of them. They're all so drunk."
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 times where Kat looks over to Greatjon and Merritt, and there's more and more people that are passed out. And Greatjon and Merritt never pass out, but that's kind of the problem, is that Greatjon never passed out. So,
well, yeah.
Yep. All right, so as he's looking through, he's looking for the outlaws. He mentions it here that they stole his life. We get the details of that later.
Yep.
And then we get that he was the biggest drinker in the twins, so we get that kind of backstory, too.
Drinks a lot of the twins, and then he thinks, like, he needs the drink to help with his headaches, plus his life sucks. And here's, like, kind of what Kyle was saying. And the first things he complains about are his wife is a shrew, his father hates him pretty much, and his children are worthless.
Yep. Which he talks more about later, too.
My life sucks, so I drink a lot. But he was sober now, except for the 2 horns of ale at breakfast and a cup of red wine before I took off. Like,
except for the 3 drinks that I drank.
Yeah, and then he's just chugging throughout the whole chapter here too. Yeah.
Dude, can you imagine like having that bad of a headache that you like need to drink? Like,
just self-medicate all the time.
Obviously, they don't have the medicine to like, or like he probably has CTE. Is Merritt Frey the first case of CTE?
Probably not the first, but
yeah.
There's probably tons of head injuries is what I'm getting at.
And how much does the hangover play into that? Like, it's just the hair of the dog affect a little bit too, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's probably a compounding thing, right? Like where it hurts from this history, but he's also drinking to drown that out, but it's causing more problems.
Yeah, because he's an alcoholic now, so he has withdrawal symptoms probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And he like tries to justify it by saying like you gotta do something to be different in the castle. And so my claim to fame is I can drink more than anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Got to be known for something, especially in a house of phrase. So what's his purpose here? He's here to ransom back Peter Pimple, and he has to stay sober to get this done. But the headache's coming on. You can feel it between his eyes, and he starts it gets progressively worse, but he's starting to like rub his temples here, right?
Yep. And he says that he pretty much had to beg to be the one to be sent on this mission, but now that he's here, he feels like a green boy out on his first campaign because he really hasn't done anything since he was a green boy out on his first campaign.
I do feel a little bad for him, right? Like, this is kind of what I was getting at the beginning, too, with about seeing these guys die so fast. Like, this guy, like, seemed like he was, I don't know, he seemed like he got a shit draw and just was trying to make a name for himself. And he's like, man, if I get him, at least when he becomes king, like, I'll have something in my pocket. Like, I gotta...
Yeah, he'll keep me around.
Exactly.
But that's Game of Thrones, baby.
Like I said, I feel bad for him. Even though fuck the phrase, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. He's definitely supposed to be a sympathetic character that I don't know if you're supposed to like, but you're definitely supposed to be like, damn, that's not... He didn't... I feel like George especially like tries to make you hate somebody and then like gives them an ending that is like, oh, damn, that's... I didn't like that guy, but I didn't want that to happen to him type thing. So I feel like this is an example of that. But yeah, so he when he's walking up there, he's even thinking like, dumb Peter, like he ran off with a camp follower and this is how he got captured. Like he's asking for it being so stupid. He's like, oh wait, I did that too though.
Ran out into the woods, chasing some tail.
I went after a camp follower and got the pox one time. So he's like, we've all been there.
I'm sure Peter Pimple would like the pox right now.
Yeah, instead of being captured.
Well, dead.
And this is in the wild part of like the phrase background, right? Like the only note I have is that Blackwater's banging everyone's wife.
Yeah, so it says Peter had a wife, but she was half the problem because she was twice his age, and a lot of people said that she was sleeping with Blackwater Frey. And he's like, there was always lots of talk, and a little of it was true at the twins, but this was something that Merritt thought there was probably some truth to.
Because he was banging everybody.
Yeah, and it says, Merritt was a man who took what he wanted, even his brother's wife. He slept with Edwin Frey's wife too, and Fairwalda.
Which is...
Not Edwin's wife. Different.
Is that Fatwalda?
This would be like his aunt. Fairwalda, I guess, would be his aunt. Or cousin, maybe.
Who did Roose marry? He
Fatwalda.
married she was called Fatwalda.
Yeah, that's Merritt's daughter.
Which is Merritt's daughter,
He
yeah.
gets into that a little later.
Right.
Yep. And even maybe, so it's still on who Blackwalder's potentially fucking at the twins. The seventh Lady Frey.
Which is...
Old man
Walter's
Frey's wife.
Yeah, old man.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Latest wife, yeah. So...
And it's all just incest too, right? Which is...
Well, not Black,
I guess
not Edmund's wife or Peter Pimple's wife, but Fairwalda is a little incesty, but I think it's cousins, which isn't super a big deal in this day and age. No, I'm not, but like even Tywin and his wife are cousins, so it's not like super crazy. Like you don't even need to be a Targaryen to be doing that kind of incest. And yeah, the seventh Lady Frey wouldn't be. So
right. He's taking the
it might be incestuous by marriage, right?
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Seventh Lady Frey is like his mom, technically, some degree.
Exactly, but not blood. Yeah.
All right, so now he gets into the thought of like, all right, old man Frey is gonna die soon, and he's cool for like, all right, you're in the family, you belong here. It's kind of our deal. But once he's gone, like that's not happening anymore. Like it's every Frey for himself.
He's definitely like the last piece keeping everything together, right? Like.
And it makes sense because they're all his offspring, but as soon as it goes to Ryman, they're not all his offspring. A lot of them are brothers, and how many brothers, half brothers, does he have that he has never really met before? Like, never spent any real time with? It's like, why the fuck is he sheltering them? Like, even though Walter doesn't really know about him, he's like directly responsible. Ryman doesn't even have that claim, so it's like, yeah, fuck, get them all out.
Well, this is like a pretty common thing, I think, even now in real life, where it's like the death of the matriarch or the patriarch of the family, and then, things kind of explode from there because there was a common thing holding everybody together, like you said, and then now everybody's fighting over the remnants is the other side of it too.
And just as your families continue to grow too, right? Like
yeah, exactly. There's more and more people.
I had grandparents, and now my parents or grandparents, right? And the tree just kind of grows off
exponentially.
Yep.
Yeah. So and they said that it wouldn't have been bad if Walter died and Stevron was still alive, who was the heir. He was like 60. He rode off with Robin died. But because like Walter had instilled in him like, hey, family is the main thing. But now we're past him, so it doesn't even matter.
He was groomed, but it was too long.
Yep. Too long. He died waiting.
And so Ryman is the new heir. He's thick-witted, stubborn, and greedy. And his sons were Edwin, Blackwater, and Peter. So Ryman's heir. After him are Edwin and Blackwater. Blackwater doesn't have any sons. I don't think Edwin does either. So Peter is fourth in line.
And this is Peter Pimple, Peter.
Yeah, exactly. That's who Merritt's going to rescue, is fourth in line.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, I didn't put some of this together reading through it, I guess, was... That's because that stupid family names you every person the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the worst. It's just Game of Thrones, man. Just wait. Buckle
Just
in.
wait.
Buckle in.
But that's why Merritt says this is important, because if he saves Peter, first off, he's going to be getting in good graces with the new heir just because he's saving Ryman's son. But
Yeah, of
also,
course.
Peter himself might be heir, might rule the twins one day.
Yeah, he might be able to help out with, might have a favor from the king, right?
Yep, exactly.
Just imagine this winter comes through and knocks two people out. Boom, there's Peter.
Yep, exactly. There's not many.
All right, so we get into more of why he believes he had bad luck. First off, he's the ninth son, which we've even said the second sons feel like they don't have any luck. He's 9. That's crazy.
It's pretty far down the list, yeah.
Nels?
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sure you are. The part I have next is Lothar. We learned that Lothar Frey was one of the ones involved in planning the Red Wedding.
Lame Lothar. Yeah, he was he was being real friendly to them, right? He came out and was the one that met with them, right?
Exactly.
I have him going through his backstory and
You
then
might be
his
right.
job at the Red Wedding.
You might be right.
But I don't have anything about Lothar, so.
Okay. Yeah, the next part I have is because exactly that's why I think it's important, because Lothar we do see he's in he came to River Run and came back the whole way with Kat and Rob to the twins, and he was the nice one. It was Walter Rivers and Lothar Frey, and Walter Rivers being a dick the whole time, and they even said they sent a bastard to be a dick, and Walter Rivers is kind of a dick, but Lothar Frey is always nice and saying everything nice and saying Rosalind can't wait, and here we learn that he planned everything pretty much. So
he was the mastermind.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure I've mentioned that to you in a spoiler section or two in the past, Jeff, when he was riding with us. But
watch out for this guy. You're probably oh, did you remember him? I'm like, no, I don't remember. Fucking another Frey.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So do you have anything else about the Red Wedding, or is it getting into his backstory?
Yeah, he basically says, I wouldn't trust Lothar. He said you can only trust full-blooded siblings at the twins, and them even not even that much.
Keep your head on a swivel when you're at the twins, that's for sure. Hide your kids, hide your wives, Black Waters running around.
But yeah, I'm into his backstory now. He was 37, too old to be a hedge knight, even if he was actually a knight. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I don't have all the details, but my next thing is that he went to Squire at Creek Hall when he was a kid. So, which he ended up being right around the same age. He's the same age as Jamie, it seems, or at least on the same timelines.
Squired with Jamie, yeah. They were squires together under the same knight.
Close enough, yeah.
And they both went to fight the first Brotherhood in the Kingswood.
Yep.
And Jamie was doing deals, becoming famous, and finding some victories. And this guy, Merritt, got captured by a girl.
Yes, they went
the White Fawn.
When Old Lord Sumner had made him a squire, everyone had assumed he would be Sir Merritt in no more than a few years. But the outlaws of the Kingswood Brotherhood had pissed on those plans. While his fellow squire, Jaime Lannister, was covering himself in glory, Merritt first caught the pox from a camp follower, then managed to get captured by a woman, the one called the White Fawn. Lord Sumner had ransomed him back from the outlaws, but in the very next fight, he'd been felled by a blow from a mace that had broken his helm and left him insensible for a fortnight. Everyone gave him up for dead, they told him later. So, yeah, he kind of was comatose, was what it sounds like, for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, he got crushed.
Yeah.
Dude, the best part is that the White Fawn branded his ass on the butt.
Yeah,
that's
she
great.
says that later.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's just a great calling card.
We've heard this before.
Ass.
This is actually one of the Kingswood Brotherhood that the guy Elmer up in the Night's Watch has told Sam about. And Arya actually said, I think at one point she's like, I want to go. I think maybe when she's with the Hound, she's like, oh, I hope I could go back and find Beric, and I'll just stay with them, and I'll grow up to be like the White Fawn. So this is like an Arya hero. So kind of cool.
Little callback.
Yeah. I didn't remember that. That's funny.
I don't remember that either. Then he gets into after so he wakes up from his blow to his head. His head just sucks now, and but he does end up getting married to a girl from House Dairy.
Man.
Yeah, he's got a bad head. Sometimes it happens. But the problem with marrying the Dairy girl, which was a prominent house, was that they fell out of prominence once the dragons fell. They were big dragon loyalists.
This is more woe is me, right? Like that's pretty much this whole chapter. It's just here's all my shit luck, and he does have shit luck. He's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't be feeling sorry for yourself all the time, dude.
Yeah. So he maybe had this little inn with this powerful family. They lost it all, and he's like, even my children suck. He's like, my wife didn't really like me, and she kept spiting me with daughters. My first daughter was a slut. The second one was a glutton.
We don't hear much about the third one, though, right?
Doesn't say. Well, yeah, not much about the third living one. Then a stillbirth. Then a daughter that died in infancy. Then his first son. His first son. Did they say it in this chapter?
I don't
No.
think so.
Little Walter.
Ah.
I don't think that's a spoiler because I'm pretty sure Little Walter has said this at some point before. But the one that was up with Bran, Big and Little Walter.
Little Walter said that he was Merritt's son.
Yep.
Interesting.
I'm sure they mentioned it because there's one time where Little and Big Walter argue who's closer.
Yeah, it
in
wasn't
line
a
of succession.
secret, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler.
Like, why would this be a secret thing? So
Who cares?
Yeah.
Look at the family tree in the back of your book.
Just kind of cool that it's connected. So, and we've seen Little Walter. He's not a knight in shining armor. So,
well, now his dad's dead.
All his children seem to suck. Is what I was getting at. But yeah,
Yeah, true.
And then we find out, he reflects back on the moment that Roose picked his Walda to marry, and old man Fraser's like, he picked her because she's fat, bro. Like,
yeah,
she could have been half her size.
Well, because he was like, I'll give you a nickel for every pound or something, right?
Silver for every pound, I think.
Gold weight and silver or something like that.
I knew it wasn't a nickel.
Weight and silver.
But
Yeah, exactly. So, but before that, he actually says his first daughter, he uses the term slut, but he says basically she got caught sleeping with like 3 different people.
She was just getting passed around the stable.
Exactly.
And then she sounded like she was for it, not against it.
So?
And live your life. I ain't judging you.
This is funny because he felt lucky that he was able to get her married to a hedge knight who, what does he call the hedge knight? Do you guys have? In my notes, it was slightly different. I have Sir Pate of Seven Streams.
Her off to a bloody hedge knight. That situation could not possibly get any worse, he thought, until Sir Pate decided he could win renown by defeating Sir Gregor Clegane. Amy Head came running back a widow, to Mare's dismay and the undoubted delight of every stable hand in the twins. It's where she did her best work.
But yeah, so the point I was getting at there was the hedge knight she married, this guy, Sir Pate of Seven Streams, which is interesting because later when they're with the Brotherhood, Tom, who I don't know if ever gets named here, maybe they do when they start talking to each other later on, but it's Tom of Sevens, who we saw with Arya, right? And he's Tom of Sevens. He goes by Tom of Seven Strings, but he started going off by Tom of Seven Streams because he's from the same area. So he says, I played at my cousin's wedding. That's why Tom claims to know Merritt before. So kind of all connected there. But yeah, he died, so Amy came back.
All right. Then the last humiliation is that Lothar gives him a job at the Red Wedding. He's giving out all the cool jobs, and he's like, yeah, what am I going to do? Well, you're going to sit down and you're going to drink Lord Umber under the table.
Yeah. I mean, tool for every task, right?
For sure. But he failed.
I mean, he did fail, but I feel like this is supposed to be like kind of Jamie to Boros. Like, hey, you're the food taster now. Like the disrespectful job.
Right. Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, it's definitely a disrespectful job, yeah. Hey, you fucking drunk. Go fucking drink.
I'll tell you what, he tried really hard. It seems like he,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
He gave it his best effort.
Our boy Great John is just a badass. One of you guys
Great John's just a beast.
What Great John got up to?
Well, he's like 8 foot tall too, right?
Yeah.
He was huge.
Big dog.
So you got going for you, Nelson.
Jeff, read the quote about what Great John gets up to.
He'd cozened the huge Northman into drinking enough wine to kill any 3 normal men. Yet after Rosalind had been bedded, the Great John still managed to snatch the sword of the first man to accost him and break his arm in the snatching. It had taken 8 of them to get him into chains, and the effort had left 2 men wounded, 1 dead, and poor old Sir Leslin High short half an ear. When he couldn't fight with his hands any longer, Umber had fought with his teeth.
Yep.
Umber's the one that carried Rosalind up to bed, right?
Probably, yeah. What's cool about Umber is, do you guys know the Umber sigil?
It's a giant, isn't it?
A giant in chains. So I think it's kind of cool. Great John is kind of a giant. And
I thought it was a bear, so...
It took 8 men to get it. That's Mormont. It took 8 men to get him in chains.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It is Mormont.
Is nobody going to talk about the marriage getting consummated?
Yeah, I mean, after she'd been bedded, so it's official. Is that what you're alluding to?
That's what I'm alluding to.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, too. I wonder how long did it take Edmure to catch on? If he was a little preoccupied... You know what I mean? Yeah.
True.
That all his friends were getting murdered outside. Yeah.
Shame.
That ruins it a little bit. Yeah, that'll ruin the moment.
All right, so he made it up to the Broken Castle, made his way through like weeds and shit. I kind of skipped a lot.
Yeah, it was cool stuff, but
Okay, well, bring up the cool stuff.
I meant like it was cool scenery stuff. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything until he gets to the Outlaws.
No, yeah, you're good.
Old Stone sounds like a cool spot to like go hang out with your delinquent friends, right?
I didn't mean that. Like it seems like a cool place. Is all I was getting.
Yeah, like it's Ruined Castle. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them, but this is one we've been to twice. Yeah, so.
Yep. So he's like, man, I gotta get Peter secure. I got my spot to worry about. And then as he's walking through, he hears a little music being played, and a man in the green cloak playing a song. And we have heard some of the song as well, too, right, Nels?
I don't think so.
It was just
I never. This is a name that I did not recognize.
We've never heard lyrics. I don't even think we've heard the title, but it's been alluded to before.
Interesting.
What's interesting is this is a song that like we have a full one of the only ones that we have like an actual full version of. Like Florence and the Machine made a version of this song because it shows up in one of the later seasons of Game of Thrones. Not that it actually ends up meaning anything in that season, but it's like the background track to something that's happening. And Florence and the Machine did like a cool version of it. So, that's one cool fact about this.
Fun fact.
Who wants to sing it? I mean, maybe me because I know the Florence and the Machine.
You have the
version.
best voice.
High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghosts.
I'm always shocked by like the pitch you go. Like why do you always go to your falsetto?
Well, there I was trying to match Florence and the Machine. What do you mean?
I've never heard. I don't know if I would recognize the song, but
that's too funny.
You could still like get into your belly a little bit and sing it from like a bass. I don't know.
It just felt right. It felt right. It felt right.
All right. Well, yeah, do you, bro?
What's he say? It's a sad song, right? Isn't that what?
So why does a sad song have to be high pitched?
Soft and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not that's not my note. I'm definitely better down here, but
I love it. Just let him do it, man. Let him do.
Give us one. Just give it a little bit down there. Give me one time, just in your belly a little bit.
High in the halls of the kings who are gone.
You're just trying too hard. I think it's the problem.
There's some Dwarfish.
I actually kind of like that. I think that was good. I think you're working with something.
I'm definitely more comfortable down there, but I'm more of a Johnny Cash singer. You need a song where you're not really singing; you're just kind of telling a story. You know what I mean?
All right. So, who's the guy in the green cloak? Do we have his name?
Yeah,
Thomas
it's
Evans,
Tom.
come on.
I forgot. I didn't know if he had a green cloak or not. I forgot the color of his cloak.
it was
I
was
forgot what
pretty
the singer's name
easy
was.
to figure out eventually here for me. I did realize who we were dealing with pretty quickly.
Did you?
Okay.
Did you expect to see some of the familiar faces? Just because, like, we already knew while Merritt was on his way up the hill that we were going to be dealing with this Brotherhood. He said stuff about like Barrack and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know who was going to be here though.
I think it's cool how like George confirmed everything I thought later when they actually start like talking to each other, and like the singer said Lem and they said Tom to the singer, right? We actually get like at least their first
They start
names.
throwing names onto.
Yeah, I got you.
But I like how before he gives like a chance, like, oh, there was a singer, and then there was a one-eyed guy, and there was a guy with a yellow cloak. Like he gives you like the distinguishing feature of each person.
I know. I forgot some of who some of those people were.
And Lem had a fucked up nose too, right?
I didn't notice it, but yeah, probably.
I think Arya hit him in the nose, right?
Yeah, she broke his nose. Yeah.
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 So that was cool for sure. I forgot Tom's name. We just had Marillion, and then there's probably
That's true.
there's the other singer that got fucked with Tyrion. Like
it's been a long book, dude.
Forget these fuckers' names.
It's been long.
Simon Silvertongue.
Long time here. So
yeah. All right. So once they start kind of talking to this guy, right? I don't know the exact conversation, but Lem pops out of the back like, "Yo, did you bring the gold?" And he's like, "Where the fuck did you come from?" And then as he looks, he's just surrounded by all the outlaws.
Yeah, he says like 12 to 20.
And a lady wearing too big of a hood.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that was gonna be Cat. Like, let's be real, right? Like,
I don't think
who the fuck would have like. I should have guessed a long time ago. Yeah. Oh, they're gonna fish her out of the river and then bring her back to life.
I don't think anybody blames you for not guessing Cat.
I know, right? Like that one's like, I had no chance. No chance.
This is one of the things that you definitely had no chance to because it's not in the show. It got cut from the show, and it's one of the things that George was pissed that it got cut from the show.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they just start cutting out a lot of like the magic-y stuff because the way the showrunners put it is they wanted to keep it appealing to football players and soccer moms. Like, come on. Here we go. Two football players right here literally doing a podcast on the book stuff. Like, come on, We're not afraid of the magic stuff, but yeah, so that's cool. Big reveal. We'll save that little talk on that for a little bit later, but yeah.
Yep. All right. So Outlaws came up. Who came up and tasted the gold? Do we know that person?
Jack Be Lucky. He's got one eye.
Okay. Jack Be Lucky had one eye. I forgot that too.
Barrick also has one eye, which is interesting, right? Because
I know that was what I was like. Oh, then that must be Barrick. But then they argue that
I'm
it wasn't.
No,
well,
I'm Barrick.
even when he says who's Barrick,
It's my turn to be
the
Barrick.
one-eyed man is the first one to say I'm Barrick until Lem says no, Jack.
That's what I'm
it's my
saying.
turn. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So to our point of view, I think it was meant to be.
I thought it was Barrick. I was like, wait, why is Barrick the one biting into the fucking
Yeah, exactly. This
gold
doesn't seem
here?
quite
Like, that
like
was-
Barrick. Like he's very solemn, not like a. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, and I mean, his face is destroyed too. Like my guy he's gotten wrecked, right?
Yeah,
like
he's got
so.
12 injuries all over his body. Yeah.
Barrick, you're saying, right? Barrick's been
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah. He's been
Oh
killed.
yeah, Barrick
So-
got crushed.
After he realized, like, damn, they're just gonna take the money and say fuck me and send me on my way. Let me see Barrick. He's got some honor. He's a knight. Like maybe he can do this the right way.
Yeah, they all do the I'm Barrick thing. Yeah,
No, I'm
my turn
Barrick.
to be Barrick.
Does-
Yeah,
and Tom's like, does that mean I have to be Thoros this time? He's like, don't worry, they're gone. They're on some other business, but don't worry, we'll get you sorted out.
And we'll take you to see Peter. He's in the Godswood. Come on.
Yep. And he's trying to get some wine. Cause Merritt tries to grab some wine before they hand off his horse, and they're like, nah, we don't drink with your sort. But like, his head is pounding. He needs it.
Yeah, it got increasingly worse over the last couple things we talked about.
Yep.
And there's Peter in the Godswood hanging already. Black
from a
face.
tree.
Been there for a little bit.
Yep. He's like, you killed him. Jack's like, this one's sharp as a blade. He's like, but I brought the gold. He's like, oh, we're going to make good use of that. Don't you worry. He's like, you guys had no right. And Lem's like, well, we had some rope. That's all we needed. Just like this little back and forth. This is like,
Brotherhood don't give
just-
no fucks.
yeah, just shook.
yeah. He's doomed from the start. Exactly. This was like premeditated, long. Like the decision was made prior to him actually getting here.
It feels like the way Merritt approached this was really dumb without like going by himself and just like walking right in there. But it also feels like the way the Brotherhood did this was dumb. Like if I'm Merritt, if I'm by myself, and I get he has a migraine, so he's not thinking about it, but like half a turn up the mountain, pull over, run into the woods, hide the gold under a
Absolutely.
rock, and then come up and be like, hey,
stash some of it,
it's
right?
nearby. Exactly.
Or stash all of it. Why not
Exactly.
stash all
And
of
just
it?
be like, hey, it's
Right.
nearby. Give me Peter, and then I'll tell you where it is. I'll shoot an arrow up at the top of the hill with the letter on it when I'm at the bottom with Peter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just walking in there and be like, here's the gold. Where's my,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, Merritt's. Nah,
I mean-
he's not using his head. Like he's expecting the outlaws to have honor, right? They're
You think-
outlaws.
but the Outlaws, if Merritt would have done that, like, they're fucked. Like, they're not gonna. Like, sure, they're gonna kill two.
Well, they're,
think
Freys,
they
they're,
but
weren't
they're not gonna-
they're
watching
out
him?
100 dragons, right? They probably don't.
You think they
like-
weren't watching him?
They might have watched him, but like, even if he was really smart and did something where he like left it at the nearest inn with a code word, you know what I mean? Like, you could have done something.
I mean, I think you're also like,
He could have at least tried.
how often does that happen though? Like where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to this nearby tavern and leave the gold there, and like, come on, man.
I think
It's a
it
lot of
happens
money.
more than like if I'm going
I guess,
any
yeah.
movie that you see, like all right, like you're gonna do a job for me. Like,
That's what I'm
no one
saying. I
gets
think you're
paid.
Hollywooding it. Like this is some guy that's like trying to go get his kid
No,
back.
no, but
or
it,
his
but
nephew
it.
back.
I mean, that's the only. How many bank robberies or like things have you been in where it's like, okay, you do this job and then I'll pay you at the end? Like, no, they want half up front, right? Like most people want half. So it's like, all right, like if I'm going to ransom, like kind of like Nelson said, I'm not going in full tilt unless you don't even have the proof that the guy's alive or that they have him.
Yeah, and I think on this point, my point there was I think either it's a double oversight by George that Merritt doesn't think about it, and the Brotherhood doesn't think that he might do something, and they already have Peter dead, or it shows that the Brotherhood like didn't care about the money, or like it was a secondary objective, and they more just captured
Well, they just
about.
wanted the money. They didn't care. Yeah.
I mean, if Kat's in charge now, and she's like, we're just killing Freys because they killed.
Well,
my
I don't
boy.
know.
You think
If
she's in
Kat's
charge?
She's just the one
Yeah.
that is the witness.
Well, yeah, she was the
in this
witness,
deal.
I guess. Yeah, she can't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like she could even talk. So how's she in charge? Barrick's probably still in charge, but you know what I mean? Like,
She's a zombie, dude.
yeah.
Straight up.
Everyone just bent the
Zombie.
knee to a zombie the moment she came up. Like, oh fuck, I ain't fucking with you.
Her skin is hanging off. She's gross, dude.
Yeah. No, I think you guys are right on that. I'm just saying.
Even
it's
if,
weird.
to your point, to Kyle, like even if they like, all right, we saw you stash the gold, like we really don't give a fuck, like we're just killing you. We're here to kill you.
Yeah.
now.
Well, and I
Like,
agree with
whatever.
that, Kyle. They probably had eyes, but my point is, you could have thought of something. But yeah.
I guess hindsight, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So either way, he's like, all right, don't kill me. You can get twice as much for me. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Great lie. I like that he tried.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the whole time he's like talking about how worthless he is, right? That's like the whole beginning of the chapter.
Oh no,
and then,
I'm twice as important. And they're gonna send 1,000 swords to come get me now. And that's like, dude, they know. If you were the one that was captured, they would have been like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, well, they start roping him up, right? Like, as he's freaking out, they start roping up. He's like, what are you doing? You can't hang
no.
a fray. And
Yeah.
Lem's like, that's what that one said, too.
we can't. Man.
A little late for that one, buddy.
Yeah.
And then they do have one question for him before they get to hanging.
Yep. Answer this question, and I'll tell him not to kill you.
Well, he does say that other one, the pimply boy. He said the same thing. That was the funny part. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also just stupid as fuck. Like, you can't hang a fray. There's literally a fray hanging.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
bro,
That's what he
it's
said.
like the second time he's like, oh,
Yeah.
you killed him. Like, no shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, he'll pay the ransom. And like, oh, Lord Waddle's not going to fall for the same trick twice. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's going to send a bunch of men and kill you. And he's like, well, he'll have to catch us first. And we've already killed Peter. So what's he going to do? Hang us twice? Like,
yeah.
killing you is not going to
Yeah.
do any different. Like, he already hates us now.
Yeah,
so.
we can
They're
kill
already-
as many as you want
Yeah,
now. Yeah,
exactly.
we're on borrowed time, right?
They're already putting our name on a wanted poster.
Yeah, kind of the deserted thing from Ned Stark, right? The deserter, the wanted man's most dangerous,
no,
'cause
nothing left.
You're already
Yeah.
chalked. Yeah.
And they've been chalked from the Lannisters, right? Didn't they already like sentence them to death? The outlaws probably, or like,
Well, yeah, everyone hates the outlaws. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, these guys are pro Robert, right?
Yes.
Like that's,
exactly.
their allegiance is still in Robert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you seen the Hound? And by chance, was there a 10-year-old girl with him at the wedding? And Merritt's like, "Fuck, I was blacked out drunk. I don't remember shit."
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, she wasn't inside either with him. So
Yeah, but he does say if he was at the Bastards Feast or in the camps, we would have heard about it. And he was in the camps, and doesn't seem like Merritt heard about it. So
It was late in the night though when
he was in the camp.
they got there. They walked through the camps.
they're about at the bridge when everything kicks off, right?
They saw
Hound
the
has
tents
his-
fall down and shit.
Sandor and
Arya.
you're saying,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought you were saying Merritt. Merritt was inside the whole time.
Yeah, he was in the back table drinking it up.
Mhm.
And nope, I don't know. I actually don't know. I have no clue. I was blacked out drunk. He could have been anywhere at the wedding.
He's like, that's a shame. Up you go.
Wait! I have kids. Don't kill me. After he just said he hated all of his kids,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like, well, Rob never will have kids. So
Well,
we're
I think this
killing
is
you."
funny too. He's like, wait, you told me that if I answered the question about the Hound, you'd let me go. You'd let me go. And Tom's like, I told you that I'd tell them to let you go. Hey, Lem, let him go. And Lem's like, go bug yourself. And Tom's like, sorry, tried.
Well, I kept my word.
And he starts playing The Day They Hanged Black Robin, which is just cool. It's another. I don't
Sing
know if
it
we've
for
actually
us.
heard. I don't know if we've heard this one, but fitting. Merritt pisses himself, begins to beg. He's like, yeah, like Jeff said, I got children. And he's like, Rob Stark will never get the chance to do that. And he's like, Rob Stark embarrassed us. We needed to kill him to clean the stain on our honor.
It wasn't murder. It was vengeance.
And Lem's like, well, we're just a bunch of outlaws. We don't know anything about honor, but we do know murder. And he's like getting ready to hang. I think that's a double meaning. He's like, he's basically calling the Red Wedding murder and also saying like, we know how to take care of you.
I know, it's just a funny.
Yeah, it's a funny line. Like he's just trying to talk his way out. Also funny here, he's not winning any friends because he's like, it was vengeance. Like you said, it was vengeance. Or the Lackwit Aegon Jingle Bell, he never hurt anyone, and Catelyn slit his throat, which is true.
That was after though. That was after
Yeah,
the
I mean,
fact.
it was
That
after
was-
everything had kicked off, but true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like accusing the person who's about to be his like only chance, right? Like his only witness of not being guilty of anything.
True.
He lists some no names who died on their side, even though only 50 men. He says about 50 men died on their side.
And thousands died on the other.
Gars Goodbrook, Tytos Frey, and he says Grey Wind killed 4 wolfhounds and tore the arm off a Kettlemaster, even after he got shot with crossbows.
Stuffed with crossbows.
Yeah. And Lem's like, oh, is that why you put it on Rob's body?
And he's like, well, shit. All right. It wasn't my fault. It's everybody else's
That
fault.
was
that had
Dad's
the
fault.
parts.
Yeah, you wouldn't kill me for drinking, would you?
Yeah, come on.
It's
And-
Bugs
and
Bunny.
you don't have-
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
Yeah, where's Barrick? Yeah, I get a trial,
I
right?
need a fair trial, and you have no witnesses against me. So, Barrett, come on out.
Yep.
Actually, sir,
We do have one witness. My lady, and I have from here to the end of the chapter is a quote.
The outlaws parted as she came forward, saying no word. When she lowered her hood, something tightened inside Merritt's chest, and for a moment he could not breathe. No, I saw her die. She was dead for a day and night before they stripped her naked and threw her body in the river. Raymond opened her throat from ear to ear. She was dead. Her cloak and collar hid the gash his brother's blade had made, but her face was even worse than he remembered. The flesh had gone pudding soft in the water and turned the color of curdled milk. Half her hair was gone, and the rest had turned as white and brittle as a crone's. Beneath her ravaged scalp, her face was shredded skin and black blood where she raked herself with her nails. But her eyes were the most terrible thing. Her eyes saw him, and they hated,
she don't speak.
said the big man in the yellow cloak.
You bloody bastards cut her throat too deep for that. But she remembers.
He turned to the dead woman and said,
What do you say, my lady? Was he part of it?
Lady Catlin's eyes never left him. She nodded. Merritt Frey opened his mouth to plead, but the noose choked off his words. His feet left the ground, the rope cutting deep into the soft flesh beneath his chin. Up into the air he jerked, kicking and twisting. Up and up and up.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Zombies.
Zombie cat.
Now we're in the middle of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with this, right? Like, I can't wait to get a cat chapter.
She's back.
That was gonna be my big
We're back.
prediction.
The worst chapters are back. You thought you were done.
I do actually hope that we get one from inside. I don't think we're gonna though. And like a cat,
Inside her
like
zombie brain.
I mean, she seems like she's here, right? Like Barrick is
She
here.
remembers.
I mean, Barrick says he's less and less here every time he comes back.
I know this is only one for her, right?
True, but Barrick normally comes back like pretty quick.
quick,
Cat was
not-
dead for
not
a
2
couple
days.
days in a river.
Yeah.
Also interesting, we saw Cat's body in the river.
I heard about it at least. Yeah,
Nope, we saw
I remember.
Arya had a dream where she
Oh,
was
right.
at
Okay, yeah,
Miria
yeah.
and pulled Cat's body out of the river. So kind of interesting just
Yeah.
to think that like Arya maybe played a part, right? Like maybe if Cat's body
She
doesn't
definitely
get pulled
did.
out of the river.
She's
Yeah.
gone.
Yep.
She's gone for good.
Exactly. So cool.
Kyle, final thoughts on
I would have never guessed that. Yeah, never. Not in 100 years would I ever. Like I don't. Yeah, I don't think anybody reading this could have ever pulled that out.
Predicted
Right?
that. Yeah, exactly.
no shot.
I don't feel bad for missing that one.
Unless you've been previously spoiled about maybe.
Yeah, I think
like,
that would have been a big tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a cool one for sure.
Yeah, if at one point you were like, yeah, well, I think Lady Cat's going to come back as a zombie, I'd have been like, bullshit.
Yeah, eyebrow raised.
He knows.
I will say that I do like that we get the Brotherhood without banners again, like even though Arya's gone from, because they are a funny crew.
I know, and
Well, it sounds like they're looking for
what's
her.
his name?
Yeah,
here,
for sure.
right? Well, yeah, that too.
All right.
What's his name's here? Gendry's here. That's what I was trying to say.
Gendry was in this chapter?
No, but he's in the Brotherhood right now.
Yes, true. He could have been here,
That's where he
but
stayed.
yeah, he wasn't one of the
No
ones that I
mention.
caught.
Yeah. No, he was not active in the chapter.
All right. So,
Yeah, so we'll see Kyle next time. So I guess for you guys, what are the? I say we do Storm of Swords wrap up before
before Dunk and Egg.
the Dunk and Egg one, and if
Oh,
you
for
guys
sure.
want to let us
We're
know,
gonna have to.
if you guys want to let us know, I think the last time we did Dunk and Egg, we did it all one episode. When we did it with Jeff and Glow, we split it in half, and we got predictions halfway through.
It'd be easy enough to go back.
I think we just do it as one, man.
Okay.
I want
That's
to
cool.
get going.
It keeps it consistent too. So I just for the consistency.
It's kind of cool though for you to be able to. I'll tell you this just from doing it, Kyle. Like to stop halfway and like, all right, like what happens next?
He gets
Jeff?
that every single chapter though in the normal book, so it's probably not novel.
Yeah,
You
I've
only
been there,
got to do
done
it
that,
3
Jeff.
times,
Been
one
there,
for
done
each
that,
dunk
baby.
book.
Yeah,
Couple times.
But I'll say when I tried to predict the first one, I was like so wildly off that I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw it all at this next prediction.
Yeah.
I'd like to go.
Again, that's what I'm here for. Yeah, I should have guessed. You're right. I should have guessed that Cat was coming back as a zombie.
Well,
That
now as you go in, like now you can just throw some crazy ass shit. Like
I feel like I have
Oh,
sometimes.
next chapter, we're gonna
Like,
see Ned's bones just walking around Winterfell.
He's
That's
like a
the thing, is, like, what are the
skeleton, yeah.
implications for this? How long can a body be dead before it's brought back? Like the Barrack thing seemed kind of like a Thoros had like the charge clear, like it was pretty immediate. Worked on any wound, but yeah, this opens the door. I feel like for some other stuff.
And it's really strange too, because like Kat's not part of this religion. Like, why is? Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess I've been trying to kind of think about the laws or the rules behind it as well, and I don't get them currently.
Yeah.
So I hope there are some. I hope it makes sense at some point.
We'll see. We're getting to the part
see.
where you don't know. Jeff and I don't know much more than you, so I will say there are definitely answers we're still waiting on too. But yeah, I don't know if we don't have anything else to talk about. We'll see Kyle in the next chat episode for the Storm of Swords wrap up, and see the rest of you guys in the spoiler section.
All right, bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle. See you on the next one.
Bye, Kyle.
Now on a spoiler section for Epilogue. Storm of Swords.
I ain't got shit.
You don't got shit. None of the Frey stuff is important later. Only one really stuck out to me as overly important later.
Does Lothar die? I don't know. Ryman do something?
Merritt's daughter.
Fatwalda? Or the one that likes to be in the stables?
The one that has a lot of stable boyfriends. Amy. They call her Gatehouse Amy. Because her legs are open like the gates of a gatehouse.
Okay, who tries to get in them?
Lancel Lannister marries her. But he becomes religious and doesn't diddle her, I don't think. But she might be getting diddled on the side. But it's interesting because
isn't he still fucked up too?
Yeah, well, kind of. He's less fucked up, but still, yeah, he's not good. He's become overly religious. That's kind of his next arc. But it's interesting because the reason he marries her is because they want to get the dairies
back
on good side, and there's no dairy. I'm pretty sure there's no dairies left. But we hear in this chapter, Merritt's wife was a dairy.
So they go back to old Milk Castle.
So Amy, his daughter, is technically half dairy. So she maybe not heir technically. She technically has dairy blood.
But oldest dairy we know.
Yeah, she has dairy blood, so they're giving her to Lancel and having Lancel claim dairy through her dairy blood claim. I'm pretty sure how that's working. So
Lannisters need to spread out into these castles.
Yeah, again, so kind of interesting. There might be a few other connections later here, and I'm sure some of these Freys will come up, like Hosteen, who Merritt says he was like big. He was second biggest Frey besides his eldest brother Hosteen, which makes sense because their mom was a Crakehall, and the Crakehall Freys are like the big. Like Catelyn says at one point, like, "Oh, the Crakehalls are bigger boned." I think she says something about Rosalind, like, "Oh, I wish she was a Crakehall. She would be better at having children. Crakehalls have a lot of kids or something because they have childbearing hips type thing."
Better childbearing hips, yeah.
You know, Cat loves them hips. But yeah, so Hosteen, he, in the end of the current story, he's one of like the leading commander Freys up in Winterfell, and he's like leading the charge on the attack of Stannis. So he's probably not long for the war. I mean, maybe he is, but
that's in the Winds of Winter chapter, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm sure he shows up in Dance in some of those Theon chapters in Winds of Winter.
They're with Roose up there in Winterfell.
Yeah, Hosteen is.
Cool.
I'm sure there's a few others, but yeah.
How about the big old spoiler that you were about to drop on Kyle?
Kind of dropped. She is in charge. Kind of. I mean, I guess we don't know 100% the dynamics, but Beric is no longer around. He's dead.
And what's Thoros doing? He's still around.
He's still around, but I don't know where he is at this point.
Just not here today.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, it was bad thing to say by me. It seemed.
Don't worry, I cleaned it up for you.
Yeah, I mean, they do look to her, but you're right. They look to her as a witness, not as like you have final decision here.
Yeah, you couldn't give Kyle that she's running around in charge right now. Mm-hmm. That would have been too much. That would have been too much for his mind.
Yeah.
It's bad on your part.
I think it's cool. I gave him that Arya pulled Kat's body out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's not bad. I remember that now.
I didn't mention this. In that vision, Nymeria and the rest of the wolves who are eating the dead bodies get scared away by
the Brotherhood coming up, right?
Again, it's like wolf speak. So it says like 3 men riding with capes of yellow, pink, and black. And Beric is black, Thoros is pink, and Lem is yellow. So it's not clear, but you can definitely infer it, especially where we are here.
We're inferring.
And we find, especially when we find out later that Beric gave Kat the kiss of life.
Yeah, when do we find that out? Whose chapter? Gotta be
I'm not sure, probably Brienne.
Brienne with the Brotherhood?
I looked up Stoneheart Also, good call not saying Stoneheart. I thought you were definitely going to say it. Again, I don't think it's really a spoiler, but they don't call her that here.
I will admit it was on the tip of my tongue, but then I was like, I can't do that to him.
Especially after, I think it became a little more obvious when Kyle brought her up as Zombie Cat. It's like, oh, wait, does he not? You know what I mean? It's like, does he not know the real name? But yeah, so I typed that one. I typed Stoneheart into a search of Ice and Fire before we recorded, which is the website where you can like search a phrase. And
how many times you got said, yeah?
It said a lot in like Feast of Crows Brienne. I think she hears about this like as Lady Stoneheart being Barrick's like lover. Is like the thought is like her and Barrick are now like ruling this shit together. I think we hear a lot about that through all of Brienne, through Feast of Crows, maybe a few other characters, but I think mainly Brienne. And then I think the end, Brienne's last chapter, Feast of Crows, maybe the last 2 chapters, she gets captured by the Brotherhood.
Cat.
Yeah, and meets Cat.
You got to go kill Jamie.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything else.
Let's get that shit rolling. Another book down, 3 down.
Yep, that's it. We won't linger. Nothing to linger on. We'll see the rest of you guys in the next one for Storm of Swords wrap-up chapter, whatever episode, whatever we're calling that.
Yep, that's what we call it. Storm of Swords wrap-up chapter. See y'all there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.